Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Enough Factor podcast. This episode is brought to you by Do You Speak Male, the 5 C's of understanding a man's language. It's a course in unlearning what you thought you knew about men so you can connect in a healthy way. If you are a next level woman who wants to up-level her relationships, go to bit.ly/his language and learn more. My name is Suzette Viernon, and a hearty welcome. My mission is to help you redefine what makes you enough on your own terms by amplifying your voice, your value, and your vision, what we call the 3 critical factors of enoughness, thereby allowing you to experience life and love in a brand new way. To all the fathers, father figures, and father surrogates, I say, Happy Father's Day. We celebrate you. Your voices, in fact, are the focus of this month's podcast episodes. And who better to interview today than a voice that challenges me and inspires higher thought and consciousness? My special guest and friend, Dr. Undrai Fizer. Dr. Undrai is the founder of the Fizer Center, a subsidiary of the Kairos Institute of Personal Discovery in Houston, Texas. He holds doctoral degrees from Latin University of Theology, as well as United Graduate College and Seminary. He is also a commissioned Goodwill Ambassador with the UN Interfaith Initiative. He is a jazz keyboardist of Undrai Fizer Music, a prophetically conscious instrumental module. He is a best-selling author and publisher, strategy coach, and international speaker. But his greatest role in life is that of husband, father, and friend. He is married to Dr. Bridget E. Fizer, a renowned fashion designer, professor, and coach, and father to 3 sons, Benjamin, Lauren, and Zion. So join me in welcoming the incomparable Dr. Undrai F. Fizer. Dr. Undrai, I am so grateful to have you on my podcast today.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
You have always made room for me, speaking to the divine part of me. And I wanted to make room for you, not only as that man, but also a safe place for you to speak your truth and to know that it will be welcomed and most of all heard.
Thank you.
And so I thank you so much for joining me. What a couple of weeks this has been.
Yes.
What a couple of weeks. I tell you, it's been one of those things where you almost want to unplug your television.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like every time you turn it on, it's breaking news. And it seems like all the breaking news is Black people and brown people being broken.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. And so I just wanted to give an opportunity to you. I declared June as the month of the man. And originally I was thinking about Father's Day. You know, I was like, you know what, Father's Day is coming up and mothers get more attention than fathers do. Yeah. And I was like, that ain't right.
I appreciate it.
So I decided, you know what, I'm going to give men a whole doggone month.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And so I decided to do that. But then with all that's happened in the last couple of weeks, it just made me become more intentional about it and to take the sadness. I think at first I was angry, but then the sadness, and to say, okay, God, what can I do? Sure, it's important for mental health to feel those things. It's very, very true. But how can I use my voice? How can I use my platform? How can I use my gifting that is my picket sign?
Yeah.
You know,
I understand exactly.
to bring about real change and real communication, because someone pointed out to me not too long ago that having a conversation doesn't really move the needle. It's when you communicate that action really takes place.
That's right. That's right.
And so I'm hoping that by having this, that we will put some communication out there that will help move that needle and
That's right.
get some things moving, more than just conversations, but get some movement.
That's right.
In the right direction. So you've got the floor. I just want you to be able to say what's in your heart.
I'd be glad to. Thanks for having me. Thank you. You've always been cutting edge, and I've always enjoyed speaking about different subject matters of life with you. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it, especially now.
Yeah.
I could begin, as you already know, I'm an African-American man. You could see that. But one thing I could say, I can't change the hate that is being directed to our culture. I can't change them. I found out when a person hates themselves, they're going to hate others. If I don't see the worth in my own life, I may like what I drive. I may like where I live. I may even like my job. I may even like the family idea that I have. But if I hate myself, if I don't know myself, and I don't know why I was born, I'm going to hate myself. And hate is not just a feeling of anger and ugliness. It's the total disconnection of this innate love that we were all created with. When we were all made innately accepting all of us as one body. But when we forgot who we were, when we forgot why we were born and who we are, we learned to devalue other people. We weren't born prejudiced or racist. None of us were. We were taught it through opinion. We were taught it through religion. We were taught it through conversations at the table. We were taught it through loose words that were spoken. We were taught it through every system that produces judgment or competition or comparison. But when all of us are innately born, we're not innately born hating anybody. We learn how to judge someone. And out of a desire to be accepted, we've learned to create separation and comparisons to other people to help us to remain acceptable to one part of society or another. If you were broke in life and you in your heart, if you were in poverty and all of a sudden you had an innate desire that if you made it, what you were going to do with all your money. Mm-hmm. And when you finally get a good job, you start bragging that, how come you can't get a good job like I do and stuff. And after a while, you start judging and they start calling you sadistic. Now, this is not a black or white problem. This is a human problem because blacks have done it to blacks. Yes. Whites do it to whites. Everyone does it to everyone. See, there is a difference between racism and prejudice. Racism is an onslaught against you because of your skin. Prejudice is an onslaught against you because of value. When I begin to feel that I'm more than you and I begin to keep you in your place, that's a prejudice. That's different than racism. Mm-hmm. As an African-American man, I innately accept myself. I already accept myself. I don't accept myself as a color. I accept myself as a divine image. Yeah. I innately accept that I'm more spirit than I am black. I don't deny being black. I accept who I am, who happens to be in black skin.
Yes.
And it's not just a philosophy, because a lot of us have positive philosophies that are thwarted as soon as we walk outside. You could have a positive philosophy that hasn't caught a hold of your behavior and your consciousness. You follow?
I totally do.
And so I haven't lost my value and I'm not inferior. The hatred, however, that I see that comes from people who have not yet awakened to themselves. There are African Americans who haven't awakened to themselves, who are prejudiced to other successful African Americans that can say, "Oh, you're a sellout."
Yeah.
See, that's the divide between our own. You're a sellout if you talk proper. You're a sellout if you can read. Whenever you hate yourself, whenever you have yet to see your own purpose, you can't help but try to have privilege over another and destroy that person. So when I saw this blatant hatred between this officer against the person who was screaming for their life, and George Floyd isn't the first person to ever scream for his life.
That's true.
For hundreds of years in our history, people have screamed for their life. Don't take my baby. Don't separate me from my children. Don't. When you brought over here from another country to work, you weren't brought here to be a part of the system. You were brought here to build America, to build this. You were here to till up what was stolen from some other people.
Yeah. We
were brought here to till what was stolen from somebody else. Cheap labor, 3/5 human. What's the psychological perception of being 3/5 human, labeled, not even a whole person from somebody else? Part animal, part dog, part human being, part thing. We were labeled as monsters. And when you label someone as a monster, you could beat them and think they'll just get back up. You can do whatever you want. That system of thought, it's not just white and black. It's a system of power and control and the innate disregard of someone else's value, someone else's brilliance. To see this man beg for his life and see this cop with his knee on his neck and he's screaming, please. And then other folks are begging for the man's life. I could only imagine laying down there and imagine my kids and imagine my wife watching me as someone's knee is on my neck. And I'm like, please. The total disregard of that in me as a protector, not just as a color, but as a protector. It made me want to bum rush the cops. I rushed the cops through the TV. I rushed them through social media. I saw myself grabbing the Asian cop. And let's say I was going to get shot if I would have did that. So.
Yeah.
There is something within the African-American culture that innately tells us that we're carrying something beautiful in our consciousness. We're carrying futures. And our desire to protect and to rescue our brother from this danger also reminded us that if we do it, we're going to die.
Yes.
And for the sake of the future, we could not grab the cop, but we found enough strength to grab a car and turn it over. We found enough strength to set fire to a building. Now, people, I don't condone that. I don't condone breaking in people's houses and ruining businesses. But when that pain of not being heard and finally embraced as a human being, not just as a Black person, but as a human being, the pain of not being heard, the vibration of us being one, to know that you live in a society that could do that. Boy, it made you want to reach for something and do something, because if you're prophetic, you can understand the language of the riots. There are a lot of people who see the destruction of the riots, but you and I can hear the language. In the riot.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you something, you could be a little white kid that wants attention from your father. You'll find his gun and go shoot your friend. You'll find drugs in the medicine cabinet and become an addict. You'll become a serial killer. You'll become a rapist. You'll become a bomber. And they'll say, where did this guy come from? And they'll lead him to a suburban neighborhood. Why? he was looking for attention from somebody. All of us, when we need to be heard, we look for destructive vices. If you can read the riot, if you can discern the addiction, you could hear the voice. You could hear what the person is wanting. Mm-hmm. And that's where we are. I think a lot of us who are in the African American community, we wanted to hurt someone. We wanted revenge. You wanted to say you've taken our children and you hung them. You've taken women and hung them and lynched them. You've taken men who already didn't have nothing and grew just 2 stalks of corn, and you burned that down. A person who worked all their life just to get a horse, and then you destroy his farm. You take their children like Emmett Till, and you get lied on, and you tie a noose around him and put a fan on him and shoot him, and you put him in the water. 14 years old. He's dead. These people who died senseless deaths, they're not coming back. They're not coming back. We've lost young and old for no reason to die. And then there are laws that we don't own that allows us to do something. We'll let you have this. And you think because we make a little bit of money or get a nice house and a car, that's all we want in life? Y'all are doing okay. Y'all can live in these neighborhoods. We don't want to just live in a good neighborhood and drive a nice car. The feeling of belong, acceptance, the feeling of oneness is what we yearn for, because all of us were born as one race, not a multitude of races. We are all one image of God in different expressions. But when we forget who we are, we compare color. Color is the least of who we are. But how do we tell this to the world? Because the only thing we can do is have a conversation that creates toleration and cordialness. And the more we tolerate, the more we're cordial, the more that boiling pot is rumbling, because it hasn't removed hate. The only thing the laws can do is create a punishment. So I won't do nothing to you because I don't want to go to jail. But when you find out they're only going to put me in jail for 2 weeks, I probably can
get away with it.
I'm going to jail forever. You'll be in jail for 2 weeks. The punishment and the consequences are not even equal. The laws are not even equal. Mm-mm. So what can we do? Speak to ourselves and remind ourselves of who we are and up our vibration. Don't forget who we are, and don't allow the distraction of someone else's hate to cause us to be mere Black men and mere Black women. Don't forget we're God's, just to be a color. Let's not forget that we're God's. Because once we forget that we're divine, to become a mere color in the hand of another color, it's going to create more rage out of us, because we're going to forget we're God's, and we're going to remember that we're dirt. And when we live as the dust of the ground, we'll start acting like the dust of the ground. But I do understand, because I was hurt myself, and I'm like, my God, how can you explain to a person who's full of hate how not to hate? I can't change them.
Can't do it.
We could talk all day. They could say we're sorry. But sorry is not the justice. Remembering is. When we remember who we are, when everyone remembers who they are, then justice will come.
And we have to remember it. And it's not just remembering the atrocities, but it's allowing us to have our voice and to speak it our way. Because another way that I feel like sometimes you can't breathe is because we have to censor how we speak. You even tell us how, well, I'm sorry, you sound like an angry Black man. You sound like an angry Black woman. It's like, no, this is just the way our culture passionately speaks. But even those that think that they're, quote, woke, when we stand in that authority, we stand in our culture, we stand in our expressiveness. They get scared or like, tone it down a bit.
Whenever a culture whenever a culture owns your living, see, a lot of us, if we don't work for ourselves, we work for a certain culture.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if there is a feeling of superiority and survival from that culture, you're going to watch what you say. If I say it this way, I may lose my house. If I speak who I am, I'm going to lose my job. If I speak who I am, I'm going to lose the loan. If I speak what I am, if they hear me, if they hear what I say. See, that's the privilege that we live under, that we fear and despise. It's not just white on black. It's the system of emotional suppression and oppression that we suffer from.
Mm-hmm.
You can have your own company, but if you feel if another culture lies or misperceives what you are, you don't even feel the strength in your own company, because you may feel that your company only survives by the recommendation of the superior culture. And pardon me for saying superior culture. Psychologically, that's what we feel.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we hate. Innately, we may feel inferior. We are concerned about how we are perceived from the kings of America. And we got to ask ourselves, do we feel like kings in our own life? Do we feel like a lower identity? Even if we talk right. Oh, you talk white.
Yeah. I was told that a lot.
Yeah. Oh, you talk like you talk. Please tell that to my son. Oh, why you speak? If you speak proper, they call it speaking white.
Mm-hmm.
It's an innate comparative that's in our consciousness that already prejudges us to everything we do. Mm-hmm. If we have a business and we have white customers, we say even white folks are coming to our.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
that means
that legitimizes. Yeah. Almost like we're legitimate. We're legitimate now.
Yeah. That's what I mean by the innate feeling of the system. If they come to your ministry, if you're a black pastor and you have white members, oh,
mm-hmm.
Whenever you feel that the presence of another culture in your presence is there, that it legitimizes you, it tells you how low you feel you really are.
That's right. That's right.
Because if you're at their ministry, they're like, well, you're supposed to be here. We're the saviors.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're with you, it's like, look at that. Mm-hmm. See, that's something in our consciousness that we hate about ourselves. We don't voice it. And that's why when we see those of another culture mishandle African Americans, that's another part that makes us angry. We feel out of control. We feel raped. We're feeling violated. Why? Because if you have a business and a white person patronizes you, it legitimizes you. But when people of your own culture comes, it's just what it is. It's not really a business yet until you get the other persuasion. Mm-hmm. You're not really an art yet until the other persuasion gives you money. Because we're familiar with ourselves. We're familiar. We don't see the divine within our own selves because we see ourselves as strugglers trying to make it. It happens in business, happens in ministry, because together we're all struggling. Whoever gets a great idea, we try to copy it, but we don't give honor to our own selves. Don't you know how many people could see you write and speak, and they'll just take little bits and pieces of it and disregard the processes that you went through to become what you are. And we, amongst ourselves, find something wrong with all of us. But when the other culture comes and listens to us, all of a sudden we're legitimate life coaches and strategists and teachers and everything. Now we're something. Because we become prejudiced with ourselves and we're experiencing racism with another. That's and whenever we're prejudiced with ourselves, you're going to always attract racism from another.
That is so true. That is so true. So, Dr. Undrai, tell me, I know that in the past you've had political aspirations, and I was on your page and I saw a post that you did on May 26th about political naivety. And I just wanted to give you an opportunity to really talk about how is this what's happening in the world making you even more determined to have your presence known politically, or is it one of those situations where you're kind of wondering, well, should I even be trying to do this? How is that for you?
I'm in the Democratic Party. I'm also president of a Democratic organization here, multicultural organization. I ran for state representative twice. The first time I was feeling my way through the process, excited to be there, excited to speak, excited to at the change that I thought I could make. Because when you run for office, you express your human qualities, not political qualities. You possess what you want to do for humanity. But I found out political parties really don't care about humanity. It's a power behind the scenes of it that's both prejudiced and racist. Who can pay who to get somewhere? If we don't want to hear him, then you need to pay for this endorsement in order to be released to the world, to speak your life. It's not a matter of getting votes. It's a matter of political organizations endorsing or placing you in a position to be heard with confidence. And if a political organization doesn't give you an endorsement, psychologically, people can feel that you're not a good candidate because you didn't get the endorsement from this certain organization, from unions, from gays, from those pro-life, from those who are pro-choice. All of the issues in our life endorses candidates. All of the issues from sexual orientation to education to jobs to whatever, renters, they have their candidates that they say, this person is going to fill our agenda if they're elected. Well, sometimes behind the scenes, you have to pay a certain price. You have to pay money or do this or do that. You have to do things that are not appropriate just to earn a place of acceptance. You follow me? And so I called it naivete, that I was naive enough to think that my heart was enough. And it was really a play on words, because I have a desire to shift humanity, and we have to shift legislation and show people that there are people that care. Well, that was my main thing. That was my main platform, is to reestablish trust between diplomats and citizens. And also, as a disabled human being, I understood the plight of healthcare and social services, and how we were not getting our needs met through healthcare, because I was in situations where my treatments were not authorized, and I'm on dialysis, and I've seen insurances not pay for my treatments, making us feel like we're having no dignity and no compassion, especially when you're disabled. And so now that I'm seeing this present situation, I have considerations of moving away from certain parties and seeing what coalitions can we establish that has an innate trust and worthiness towards constituents. Do I move away from the party and establish another type of movement? To the point that I would rather be a part of an authentic, beautiful movement of wisdom and lose an election than to be a part of something that we're familiar with and got to play the game. Yeah, that's what I was speaking of, my political naivete. I thought I had enough heart. I thought I could speak. And the thing is, I can do it. And I do have the heart. I do. The thing is, it's the systematics in place that's not ready for diplomats. See, this system can only house politicians, not diplomats. Diplomats have a servant's heart for people. Yeah. That's you're a diplomat. Did you know that?
I've never been called one. You're the first.
Yeah. All of God's voices are diplomats. We're people who share in the human experience, and we try to bring people to its greatest power. Yeah. And I see the governments that we have right now is not ready for that. It's like a beauty pageant. You've got to play the games and wear the bikinis and do this. You know what I'm saying? It's not ready for what we have to offer.
Do you think it ever will be, or what? Or it'll be a while?
Oh, I think who has to be ready is not the system, but the people. We have to work harder. We have to give money. We have to push one another. We can make it happen if we're ready to work and invest in it, and not invest one time. We have to continue. We have to give our lives to change. Change doesn't happen by accident. It happens by intention. Change doesn't happen because we keep doing little things a lot of times. Change happens through intention, which means I'm going to devote my life to this. So it'll happen. Yeah. It'll happen.
Oh, that is so hopeful, because one of the things that I don't want to happen after all that's happened recently is what seems to happen all the time. We'll go into outrage over what's happened, then it calms down.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And then it's like it takes another something happening, another atrocity. Yeah. Then we're back up again. Yeah. Then it calms down. And it's like instead of riding this wave, like you're saying, we have to be devoted to the change.
See, we can't just respond because we're mad. If it's anger without transformation, then that's rioting alone, because it's anger without transformation. See, we want things to change. What do we want to change? We want white officers or white folks to stop killing black folks. We want the racism to stop. But the racism is a part of an unrenewed mind. The racism is an addiction, just like an unrenewed mind. When my mind isn't renewed, then I could be on drugs. Whatever an unrenewed mind's activity is what it is. Racism is just another part of an unrenewed mind. It's another part of sin, like everything else. And sin isn't a religious word. It's blindness. The thing that makes racism terrible is it is a personal sin being carried out on another person. See, if I got a sin with lust and I'm on my computer looking at stuff, it's not affecting you and it's not affecting you at your house.
Right.
Because it's a personal iniquity that's affecting myself and my body. Racism is an iniquity that's being expressed blatantly and outside. It's no longer a secret sin. You know how we say, God's working on me. He's not finished yet. Because you know what's not finished in you. You know what attitudes you have. You know what fears you have. You know what doubts you have. So no one sees them. Why? Because when it's time for you to shine on stage, nobody sees your weakness. When they see you in that red dress on the stage playing that piano, when you have that an evening with Suzette and you're speaking, taking it to a bigger stage, nobody's seeing the fear and the doubt in your consciousness. Nobody's hearing you say, did I sing okay? Did I play all right? Because whenever we're on stage, it's best foot forward, best lighting. When we see our pictures of the photo ops when we're finished, you like the picture. Somebody, oh, that was some good lighting. And you put that on your social media. You like how you came out looking in your pictures.
Yeah.
You like how you came out looking. Oh, I'm not looking as fat. I'm not looking as small. Oh, like, oh, you like how you look when you're on stage. No one sees your doubts. No one sees them but your loved ones. You can say, hey, and they say you did good. I did all right. You're not asking the audience if you did all right. You're asking your husband, baby, how did I do? You are out of sight. Did I look good? You look real good. And then you keep asking the same questions over breakfast. Did I look good at the thing? Oh, I had such a wonderful time. You know, I was afraid, but I stepped out. You begin to admit to the people you love. Racism is a blatant thing against another person's body and life. It's another addiction. It's another expression of an unrenewed mind. Racism is a sin that can't be classified by itself. It won't change until the consciousness is changed.
So
it won't stop.
So Dr. Undrai, for white people who are listening to you talking right now, or people of other ethnicities and colors that are saying, you know what, we feel like it's wrong too, but we don't know what to do, and we don't want to get it wrong, and we don't want to offend you, and we, you know, because there's some people that feel paralyzed by their own shame, by their own ignorance.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who's listening that says, where can I start? What can I do? I want to do something, but I don't want to insult you all further by me trying to do it on my own, thinking I know the best thing to do when I don't even know. What would you say to them?
I can't speak for another consciousness. Color isn't consciousness. Because there are some friends that I have that are white that treats me, I feel a good energy with them. Mm-hmm. And so they know what's up. And sometimes I can't tell them what to do. Mm-hmm. Let me explain this. Let me say it this way. And I'm going to take I'm going to walk gingerly with this.
Okay.
I was on another interview this morning. And I was speaking, someone gave attention to a woman, a non-Black woman, white lady, who was feeling really bad about what was going on and guilty. And I told the interviewer that certain white women may have a tad bit of an understanding of prejudice more than white men. I'm going to say this. White women also shares in white privilege, what we call white privilege. They might not call it that. It was found in the woman in Central Park who says, I'm going to call the cops on you, and say an African-American is bothering them. So when she would say an African-American, they would know she's white. Mm-hmm. She shares in white privilege, but a lot of white women haven't shared in white power because they know what it's like to be discriminated against from their own when it comes to money, pay, and if they have authority or a position over a white man, how a white man could react to having to work for a white woman. Mm-hmm. They've had to fight for their own equality. So they may have a tinge of understanding about prejudice and what it's like to feel low, but they still have white privilege. We as African American, the way we are perceived, we have no power, no privilege. And so I would tell them, if you love people, just continue to show love to people. We don't want an act of love. We want an energy of love. I don't need you to just come and hug me. I don't need you to just put your arms around me like I'm touching a Black person. We feel energy more than we see acts of anything. Mm-hmm. Am I making sense with that?
You are. It reminds me of the movie A Time to Kill with Samuel L. Jackson and Matthew McConaughey. And I remember at the end or near the end of the movie, Matthew McConaughey says something about them being friends. And Samuel L. Jackson's character says, "No, you're not my friend." Mm-hmm. He said, "Because friends come to my house."
That's right.
He said, friends partake in my life. So
that's right.
You can't call me a friend. You're not a friend if I never get invited to anything you do, and you never come to anything I invite you to. We are not friends. If we're not involved in each other's lives, we're not friends. And I think that's the next step, because it's time out for saying, well, I had a Black person on my summit. Well, you have 50 white people on the one Black person. You mean to come on? One. It's almost like don't position us and to make you feel like See, I'm woke. See, I'm making an effort. I'm making room for y'all. But it's just like that movie. If you're not doing anything more on an ongoing,
that's
real action basis, even if you're not speaking out against the atrocities, if you're silent, that's saying a whole lot too.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. I even looked at the situation. What if it was white cops? What if it was black cops whose knees were on a white person?
Oh God.
See, it's a matter of love.
Ooh.
It's a matter of consciousness. Would it be rioting? No. If it was black cops, would I want to save the white guy? I would say, hey, get off that dude, man. See, whenever we've been affected by hate and pain and oppression, we become very selective in our spirituality and our perception of life.
Yeah.
What's fair and what's not. Do we really love everyone? Do we really love everyone? Are we tired of being the bigger people? And it's like it's time to raise some hell now. Because if I saw black cops with their knee on a defenseless white dude who didn't do anything, I say, dude, what's up with you?
Yeah, I'd be outraged about that too.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like,
but it seems normal. Yeah, but it seems like a normal pattern for it to be the other way around. Mm-hmm. And this pattern is in our consciousness. It's embedded in us. It's in us. To the point, like you said, what would you tell a white person? How to tell them how not to live in the guilt? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to tell them. I don't know what to tell them to do for me. If you're my friend, just keep being my friend. If you're really my friend, if you're my friend, just be my friend. But I don't know. I don't know how to tell them you can't take responsibility for a color. Because it's not just a color doing this. It's a consciousness that's killing us. It's not just a color killing black people. It's a heart that's killing black people. Just like I'm not obligated to become the hate that I'm being hated with, other whites are not obligated to take license and take obligations and take the guilt of what other people are doing from my people, because it shows that we're still separated. Mm. You know? Yeah. It shows that we forgot who we are, that we remember who we are at church, but we forget who we are in life. I'm white and you're black. This is a black business. This is a white business. White business are the standards. Black businesses are the exceptions. It's a black business. This is not a real business. It's a black business. White business, oh, that's a real corporation. It's like as long as that label is in our consciousness, we're going to keep dividing ourselves. Is this a black bank? See, we could go to Chase and go to credit unions and just go there and don't think about what kind of bank it is. Mm-hmm. When it's a black bank, we got to go to the hood. We don't have franchises for them. We got to go 50 miles to go make a deposit. It's like I would support it if I didn't have to drive 50 miles. 50 miles.
I might need my money a little bit faster than that.
I need my money a little faster. Yeah, if you spread them out a little bit, it might. I could just go up the street right here to Chase and Bank of America, but if it's a black bank, spread them out just like that, and we'll be all right. I done lost my car. I done lost my black card right there.
You done lost your black card.
Yeah, it's like, he ain't black. I don't want to hear him no more. I don't want to hear him no more. He was all right till he said that. If I don't have to drive 75 miles to the bank, we all right. I want the bank in my city, in my community.
Oh my God, Dr. Undrai, we could talk about this forever and ever and ever, but I do want to give you an opportunity to, as we bring the conversation to a close, what's your final thoughts that you'd like to leave us with? What is the summation? What has been the point that we've been trying to make here in our conversation?
We are still special people. Mm-hmm. You are the divine image of God. Don't become the hate that you're being hated with. Whether you're being hated by fellow African Americans or hated by whites, never become the inferiority that people try to put on you. Never become that. And you do have control. We can't control what another person, whether black or white, feels about us. We can't control how they try to express their hatred. But I'm going to tell you something. You can control what you do. And I want you to stop killing us. Because I don't know how long the grace of God is going to restrain us. Mm-hmm. It's the grace of God that's causing us just to flip a car over. It's the grace of God that's constraining us to just burn down a building. Because what's in our heart is we want to spread vengeance on you and let you know, stop it. Because if anybody breaks in my home and affects my family, I'm not going to burn a car, and I'm not going to flip a building. I'm going to put my hands on the person that done broke in my house. So many years, our homes of our minds and our peace have been broken in by people. And we've used all of our strength and our grace not to put our hands back on you. We don't want to do that because we love our future and our generation. And we're not weak. If we flip that car over, we're not weak. We're strong. Now I'm telling my people this. What other people do, I don't know. But I'm going to tell my people, stay up and keep moving and keep fighting and protect yourself, not just from protect yourselves from hate from all kinds. And don't you hate. We've had enough. Now it's time for us to regain control of our lives. We need to gain control of it, period. Not just because someone else took it. We need to regain it. And we need to stand up and move forward. We're going to get through this. We are going to get through this. I promise.
Thank you, Dr. Undrai. Thank you so much. And I'm going to leave it right there because I can't even add anything to it. That was it right there. That was it right there.
Bless you, my friend.
Bless you, my friend. You have just listened to the Enough Factor podcast with your host, Suzette Vernon. To get notified of new episodes or to dig deeper into today's topic, become a subscriber. And while you're at it, tell us how we're doing and what topics you're interested in. We appreciate your feedback and your reviews. Until next time, remember, you are worthy, you are worth it, you are enough.